Thank you for joining me for practice. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel and share it with family and friends. In the description is a link to my Patreon account. If you'd like to offer a donation, it's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. You can start with Sukhasana, cross-legged, or if you'd like, half lotus. To come into half lotus, take the outside edge of one foot into the crease of the opposite hip and thigh, and we'll switch halfway through. Allow the knees to relax, press into the sit bones, close the eyes, and lift through the crown of the head, creating space in the spine. As you settle in, begin to feel the gentle opening of the hip. And truly bring your awareness into the base of the body, feeling the pull of gravity. And as your conscious attention moves into the very base of the body and specifically the root of the spine, just tap open that root and allow the grounding energy of the earth to rise up through the root, through the sacral area, through the solar plexus, and settle into the heart. And as the base of the body stays heavy and relaxed, there's that lift through the crown of the head that creates a lightness or a buoyancy in the torso. Tap into the crown of the head, opening up to that divine inspiration, and allow that to move down through the crown, past the third eye, past the throat, and here too settling into the heart, where these two energies intermingle, grounding and lightness. We feel a balance between the two. And then begin to watch your breath. Just feel the rise and fall of the abdomen as your attention stays rooted in the heart, in the combination of these two energies. And the heart is often considered the hub. It's considered the source or the seat of the soul. Now, after a few rounds of just watching the abdomen rise and fall, begin to breathe into the heart first, breath coming in through the nostrils. Fill the chest, feel the collarbone spread wide, move it down into the rib cage and then down into the belly. And the pressure of the breath as the diaphragm descends feels like it touches the pelvic floor. Then on the exhalation, feel the lift from the pelvic floor from the root. As the pelvic floor and navel draw in and up, then the rib cage comes closer together, the chest softens, and the breath leaves the nostrils. So a few rounds of breathing in this way, inhaling in and down, and exhaling up and out. And if you want, you can bring in a soft ujjayi sound, an ocean wave, a whisper type sound to the breath, and hear that the breath is balanced. Even inhale, even exhale, and smooth. A smooth quality, a relaxed quality to that breath. One more like this. Now we're going to continue that breathing, but just switch the legs. You'll switch by taking the outside of the left foot into the crease of the right hip and thigh, and then gently allow the knees to relax. And observe if one side is tighter than the other, and return to that deep, smooth abdominal breathing. As you trace the breath in through the nostrils, all the way in and down, feel more anchored and grounded. And as the breath comes up and out, feel that lightness connecting to both the root and the crown. So it's always been interesting to observe the relationship between the hips and the heart. And we often think of the hips as being an area in the body that stores emotion, and the heart being an area where we originally feel from. When we release the hips, we often find the heart naturally and effortlessly opens. And so we're going to focus our attention today on removing some stagnation and tension in that lower portion of the body, letting go of whatever's been stuck or stored or trapped there, so that we free up more prana and are able to more easily settle and rest into the heart. So when you finish this last breath here, bring your hands together in front of the heart, bow your head to your hands, and set that as your intention for practice. If there's anything you want to add to that that relates to what you've been working on in your own life, please state that mentally now. And then we'll settle this in the heart. Begin with the chant of Om 3 times. Just like from the root to the crown, we're going to vibrate the Om, Ah in the lower portion, O in the middle portion, and all the way to the upper portion of the spine. So deep inhale in. And then take a long exhale out. Really empty. Deep inhale in. Slowly lower your chin to your chest. Take your time to gradually come back into the room. Now, if your sit bones were propped, release them and come into a Sukhasana, just easy cross-legged position. Plant your fingertips on the floor, reach them as far as they'll go, and on your inhale, reach the palms up towards the sky, lift the arms over the head, look up, palms touch. And then exhale, bring the head back to neutral, reach the fingers away, extending out as far as you can, and then fingers will touch the earth. We'll repeat that again. Inhale, extend up. Look up as the hands come together. Exhale, head to neutral, reach the fingers as far away from one another as you can as they come back to the earth. Good. 3 more like that, please, with your even inhale, even exhale. So chest, ribs, belly, all the way to pelvic floor. Exhaling, pelvic floor lifts, belly lifts, squeezing out the rib cage, the chest, and leaving through the nostrils. And as you breathe in on this next one, really feel how the breath can expand the stretch just by consciously breathing into the areas that feel a little tight or stuck. And just one more, please. Really reach out of the waist. Good. Now right fingers down, inhale the left arm up, walk the hand out, press into that left sit bone, extend the fingers away. Gaze is traditionally up at the inner arm. If that bothers the neck, then keep it neutral or look down. And then send your breath all the way down through that side body into the hip. Navel rotates slightly to the left, chest leans back. One more. Then on your next inhale, lift the left arm up. Slowly come back up into seated. Extend the fingertips to the floor and just feel difference between right and left. Inhale the right arm up. Walk the hand out. Press the right sit bone away from the fingertips. Really extend. Again, draw the shoulder head down into its socket as you gaze up at the inner arm. Navel hugs in and rotates to the right. Or head is neutral, gazing at the floor. As you breathe in and down, can you feel it reach all the way into the hip? Navel hugs back on exhale. And then inhale, reach all the way back up. And sit with a tall spine and a relaxed body. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, fold through the legs. And just let the upper body soften. Hands come down to the earth. Push into the hands and draw the weight back into the sit bones. As you breathe in and down to the root, feel the kidneys spread wide. As you exhale, feel the navel deeply pull in and up. And one more breath. And then slowly come back up. Extend your arms in alignment with your ears. Press into the base of the spine. Rotate the hands all the way back and around you. And then point your fingertips toward your hips. Push down into the earth and lift the hips off the floor. Stretching now into the front of the pelvis, the abdomen, chest, all opens. Anchor and root deeply into your hands, into the knees. Tailbone absorbs in. One more. And lower the sit bones down. Sit tall for just a moment and feel. Nice. So come into tabletop position. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, tops of the feet press firmly into the floor. We're going to do a little bit of joint exercise here for the hip. We'll inhale, heart lifts, sit bones lift as you look up. Exhale, draw the navel to the spine, round the back, take the sit bones to the heels, child's pose, Chakravirkrasana. Inhale, Heart lift, sit bones lift as you look up. And exhale, round the back. Sit bones to heels, child's pose. Good. 3 more like that to open up the spine. Use your breath. Make sure that it stays even. Last one. Now returning to tabletop position, anchor through the hands, knees, and feet. We're going to start by bringing the right knee into your chest. And then inhale, extend that leg away. Exhale, bring it back into the chest. Inhale the knee out to the side. And exhale it back into the chest. So inhale, reach it back. Bring it into the chest. Bring it out to the side. Inhale. Exhale it back into the chest. So we're flowing here. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Once you get the rhythm of it, you're going to actually start letting the leg just kind of move on its own. And we want to get kind of loose in that hip joint, beginning to bring some lubrication into that area of the body. So don't think too much about it. The more you think about it, the more confused you might get on the breath and where you're at. Just let the leg flow. One more. And now just sit back on your heels. Rest your hands in your lap for a moment. Sit with a tall spine, relaxed body, and just observe. Rotate your wrists out in front of you into a circle. And then go the other direction. Okay, other side. Come back into tabletop position. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Tops of the feet pressed down. We'll start by exhaling the knee into the chest. Inhale, reach the leg away. Exhale the knee back into the chest. Inhale the knee out to the side. Exhale it back into the chest. Inhale back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And now once you get the rhythm on this side, just start to let the leg flow. Steady gaze, steady breath. And at some point, if the leg is moving quickly, it might not be conducive to maintain the inhale, exhale, inhale, because it might be too quick. So just continual slow, deep Ujjayi breath. Last one. Sit back on your heels again. Tall spine and rest. Let everything settle. Feel some of that movement of energy. Okay, puppy pose. So walk your knees back. Tuck your toes under. And make sure your hips are in alignment with your knee. And then arms extend as far forward as they'll go. And let the forehead come to the mat. Anchor into the hands, anchor into the feet and knees. Now just breathe here. Notice any space that's opening up there, particularly in the thoracic spine, the upper middle back. And then bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Come back into tabletop position. And then we'll come into traditional down dog. So if you want to walk your hands forward to the top of your mat, Spread your hands wide. Inhale, lift heart, lift sit bones, look up. Now exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And bend one knee, press the other heel down. And bend the other knee, press the other heel down. And just go back and forth a few times, opening up the backs of the legs. Now rise onto the balls of the feet. Bend your knees and lift your hips as high as you can. Let your upper body soften, head and neck release. Keep anchoring through your hands and rotate your shoulders away from your ears, hugging the inner elbows toward the midline. Now with the knees bent and you as much of a lift in the tailbone as you can, slowly start to lower the heels down without losing that lift. And see if you can instead feel pelvic floor and navel draw deeply in and up. And then find your feet about hip distance, toes turned in slightly, heels out, head and neck is continue to relax. Notice if the neck likes to start creeping back in again. Breathe here. One more. Come on to the balls of the feet. Bend the knees, look at the hands, step forward to your fingertips, and take your feet wide so just the big toes are to the outside edges of your mat. Hands are going to go on to the back of the legs. Slide the hands down. And then from here, we're going to sweep the hands behind us, interlace the fingers, take the knuckles up and away, and just stretch out the shoulders. Allow that upper body to soften through the legs a little bit more. Make sure you don't start sinking in the heels. Come forward slightly in the balls of the feet. Tailbone lifts up. Navel draws in and up under rib cage on exhalation. Now bend your right knee just slightly, straighten your left, and then bend your left knee slightly and straighten your right. And just play in the hips and pelvis going back and forth, allowing the shoulders to release. One more. And then find center, relax your arms, let them slide down again. And this time fingertips can just line up with the toes, or you can hold on to the outside edges of the legs. Allow the head to hang, so crown is just extra weight, opening up the spine through traction. And then heel toe your feet into more of a hip distance stance. And we're going to move in and out of monkey pose. So you can have your hands on your shins, or you can have your fingertips lined up with your toes, whatever's easier. On your inhalation, you're going to extend your heart away from your legs. Exhale here and really pull the navel in and up under the rib cage. Keep that engaged as much as possible as you inhale again. And then exhale, navel in and up as you fold. Repeat that. Inhale, monkey pose. Extend up. Stay for the exhale and really take the pelvic floor, navel in and up. Draw the shoulder blades down your back. Inhale here again. In that extended state, fill completely with breath. And then really take the pelvic floor, navel in and up as you forward fold. Good. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Two more on your own. And when you finish the last one, bring your hands to your hips, press equally into both feet, come halfway up, hover right there at halfway, really press down through those roots, crown away from the tailbone, elongate the spine. And then anchoring into the earth the rest of the way up as you inhale. And then Samastiti. Standing mountain pose, just rest. Feel prana flowing through the body. We're going to do a modified version of Sun Salutation C. So coming back to the front of your mat with the big toes touching space between the heels, hands together in front of the heart or feet hip distance apart. Inhale the arms from the front, open the heart, slight back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Step the right leg back, lower the knee, top of the foot. Inhale up for low lunge. Tuck the back toes under and sit back on the heel, stretching into the hamstring. Forward fold. Inhale, come back into low lunge. And exhale, step the back foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, arms in alignment with the ears, press into the feet, come back up, slight back bend, and exhale, hands to heart. Again, inhale the arms from the front, slight back bend, exhale, forward fold. Left leg back, low lunge, inhale. And then exhale, tuck your back toes, sit back on the heel, flex your right foot, forward fold. Inhale, back into low lunge, open the heart. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, arms in alignment with the ears. Press into the feet, come up. And exhale, hands to heart. That's one round. Let's do it again. Inhale, arms from the front. Exhale, fold. Right leg back. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, tuck the toes, sit back, flex the left toes. Inhale, back to low lunge. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, engage the back body, chin in. Come up, look up. Exhale, heart. One more time together. Inhale, arms from the front. Exhale, fold. Left leg back. Inhale. Exhale. Sit back, tuck the toes. Inhale, come forward again to lunge. Exhale, fold. Inhale, engage, come up. Open the heart. Exhale. Again, keep going, right and left sides. So we'll start on the right, we move the right leg the whole time, and we'll go to the left, and we'll move the left leg the whole time. Now, if having the arms in alignment with the ears is too intense for the back, you can bend the elbows or take the arms out to the side as you're moving, doing more of a lateral stretch. One more right, one more left. When you finish, just stand in mountain pose. Arms by your side, tall spine. So we just work the hip flexors and extenders. So I'm gonna go a little deeper into the rotators. So coming to the front of your mat, again, big toes touching space between the heels or feet hip distance, hands at the heart. Inhale, reach up, arms out wide this time. And now exhale, navel to the spine, forward fold. We're gonna start by stepping a left foot back. And to lower the knee, you're gonna flip your mat over if you need padding underneath it or put a blanket there. And again, we're in that low lunge position we were in a moment ago. Now, take your right hand on the inside of the right leg and then walk that foot out just a little bit, 1 or 2 inches, and point the toes towards the upper corner of your mat. And what you're trying to do is that as you bend your knee, you want the toes to move in the same angle as the knee. So walking the hands forward, as long as this back knee is on the floor, you are perfectly fine to let that knee go slightly over the ankle. Now, with the hands underneath the shoulders, this might be enough of a stretch for you, starting to feel the length in the groin. But if you'd like, you can bring your forearms down and interlace the fingers and let the head and neck relax. So just a little bit deeper here. Your choice of which position is best for you. Now, we're not entirely into those rotators yet, but we are getting into a different set of muscles than just that straightforward low lunge we did a moment ago. Continue to breathe on each exhalation, taking the navel in and up. Let go. Release. And then walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Plant your left hand down. Now straighten your right foot again and let the outside edge of that foot stay into the mat. Inner foot opens up and use your right hand to just gently push that knee open. And just to your capacity, no extra pressure there. Heart is open. One more. Good. Bring that foot back. Heel toe it all the way back to center. If you need to undo the mat, plant your hands down, high lunge, extend the right leg all the way up in the air, and then open the hips, stack right over left. And then inhale, extend through the toes. Exhale, bend into the knee and draw that left heel towards the earth. Try to even out the pressure in hands and shoulders. Inhale the leg away. Exhale, bend. One more, inhale. Exhale. And then inhale that leg straight, bring the foot down, and find downward facing dog. Remember that feeling of the hips lifting up and back. You can even do that by coming onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, and reach the hips way up in the air, and then slowly lower those heels down. Now we'll do the other side. So we have to step the left foot forward to the fingertips. So make sure you get it all the way up there. Pick it up if you need to. And then flip your mat over, lower the knee down. And we're in that low lunge position again. Once again, we'll take the hands on the inside of the foot. And walk your left foot out an inch or two. And point those toes somewhat towards that left corner of your mat. Remember, you want it to be in alignment with when your knee bends, that same angle as the knee. So starting with the hands planted, you can start to lean a little bit into that. If you want to tuck your back knee, tuck back toes under and slide the knee back an inch or two, you can do that as well. Just starting to feel the muscles there opening, some of that deep groin. And of course, if you want to go deeper, that's not enough sensation. Bring the forearms down. You can interlace the fingers. Head and neck is relaxed. Look at your back knee. Keep letting go, keep releasing. Don't sink in your shoulders though, so keep some space in the joint, space between the shoulder and the ear. One more. And then bring your hands back under your shoulders. Now straighten your foot out. Plant your right hand down, left hand to the thigh, and then you're going to roll the foot open so that the inside opens like the page of a book. And as you push that knee away, just feel, again, we're getting a little bit more into that outer hip. One more full breath here. And gently unwind, heel toe the foot back to the center completely. Undo your mat, tuck the back toes under to high lunge, and then slide that leg all the way back and up so that you open the hip to the left, so stacking left hip over right. Inhale the leg long, exhale, bend the knee, draw the heel to the glute, and lower the right heel down. Try to keep shoulders and hands equal. Inhale again, lengthen the leg. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale. Exhale. One more to inhale. And then square the hip, bring the foot back down, and come into downward facing dog. Once again in down dog, take your big toes to the outside edges of your mat, and let your chest soften completely. Head and neck is relaxed, really reducing that thoracic curve. So again, as we open the hips, as we create more room and space in there, really freeing up the heart as well. Make sure shoulders stay rolling away from ears and inner elbows are still squeezing midline. One more breath here. Good. Walk your feet in and then walk your hands back to the back of your mat. Coming into forward fold there. Head and neck is relaxed. Hands to hips. Squeeze your elbows tight. Press equally into both feet. Hover halfway. Take a breath there. Anchor into the feet and rise the rest of the way up. Arms by your side. Samastiti. Just rest. Staying conscious of the process. During these rests are opportunities to consolidate the work that we're doing. So staying with the feet hip distance apart, or just slightly wider is fine too. Inhale, the arms reach up. Exhale, turn the toes out, heels in. Bring the hands down the center line to squat. Inhale, rise back up to standing. Turn the toes back in and exhale, forward fold. Again, inhale, reach up. Toes out, heels in. Exhale, squat. Inhale, reach up. Toes in. Exhale, fold. Okay, that's the pattern. Keep going on your own, inhaling, exhaling. And remember that the breath moves you. Notice the loosening in the hips. Last one here. Inhale all the way up. Toes out, heels in. Exhale, squat. Inhale, rise up, toes in, and this time just exhale the arms by your side. And you can shorten your stance slightly if that feels more comfortable to return to mountain pose. Step your left foot forward, turn your toes in for a wide stance, and then we're actually going to turn the toes out and heels in for goddess. So bending into both knees, coming into sort of a wide squat here, length. Coming into a wide squat here, bend your elbows out wide, spread your palms. So fingers are spread. Now feel as if you were in between two planes of glass. Nice and stable. Tailbone lengthens away from the crown of the head. On the exhalation, the navel draws in and up. Again, also lifting that pelvic floor. Gaze is steady. Keep lengthening the tailbone, keep reaching through the crown. One more. And then straighten the legs, straighten the arms, palms touch. And then exhale, turn your toes in, hands to hips, and just rest. Inhale your left arm up, keep the right hand on the hip. Exhale, press the hand into the hip and lean the arm over the body. Fingertips reach away. Inhale, rise up. Exhale the left hand to the hip. Repeat on the other side. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, push the hand into the hip, reaching away. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hand to hip. Again, inhale, left arm. Exhale, lateral bend. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale, right arm. Exhale, lateral bend. Inhale up. And exhale. One more on your own, please. Turn your left toes out, keep your right foot the way it is. Inhale your arms long. Exhale, lengthen as far as you can, like someone's pulling your arm, and then take your hand to shin, ankle, foot, or floor, whatever is comfortable for you. Right arm straight up in the air, shoulders are stacked, and gaze traditionally is up at the hand, fingers are together. As you press down through the feet, really stabilize the legs and the base of the body, and utilize that stability to extend the spine a little more. Now here we want to feel a little bit more of that stretch in the outer hip. So can you send your breath down into the outside of the right hip? One more. Now turn your hand and just place it down on top of the right hip. Look down at the floor. If you need a block, you can place it 6 to 10 inches in front of your left pinky toe. If you don't need the block, just place the hand on the floor and bring your weight forward into that left foot and step the right leg up in the air. Now the hips are stacked, so rights over left, hips are open to the sidewall, navel rotates to the right, chest leans back. And then you could take the arms straight up in the air again if it's comfortable. And now really activate the foot in the lifted leg. So you're pushing through that heel and activating that hip. So we're not only opening it, but also strengthening it. And then for the last few breaths, those of you that are really comfortable, you can bend the back knee, grab onto the top of the foot with a hand, and then come into Ardha Chipasana. So you're pushing that foot into the hand. It almost feels like a bow pose. And to me, again, that's a really beautiful expression of the relationship between the hips and heart. So as the foot pushes into the hand, we feel that chest open a little bit more. One more breath. Now, straighten the leg if you had it in Ardha Chipasana back into Half Moon 2, and then slowly going to come back into triangle pose. Find some stability there. Inhale, reach with the top arm, come all the way up to standing, turn the toes in, hands to hips, and rest. Find your breath again, so slow it down. We're going to do that same sequence to the other side. So if you need a block on the other side, place one there. And now we're turning the right toes out, front heel lined with the arch of the back foot, and triangle pose on this side. So back foot stays in the same position. Inhale, extend the arms. Exhale, reach like someone's pulling your arm as far away as possible, and then come down so that you get as much length as you can. Left arm is straight. Shoulders are stacked, fingers are together. Traditionally, gaze is up at the hand. If that bothers your neck, look neutral. Breathe here. Of course, so many muscles are getting opportunities to strengthen and lengthen in this posture. And we really want to focus our awareness in the outer left hip. So can you bring your mind there, bring the attention there, and breathe into it. Navel hugs in on exhalation, rotates a little deeper to the left. One more here. Now we're going to turn that hand, bring it onto our hip, look down at the floor. And again, here's where you may want to have that block if you need it, 6 to 10 inches in front of the pinky toe. Put weight into that right foot, place the hand on the floor, and lift the left leg up in the air, stacking the hip left over right. So they're open to the side wall. And if you're comfortable, take the top arm up. Gaze can be at the floor or the side wall. Breathe deeply here, but really activate that top leg. Flex through the heel, so strengthen that outer hip. Then if you want to go into that second option, Ardha Chipasana, I'm going to bend the back knee, grab onto the top of that foot with a hand, and then you're going to push that foot into the hand and then bow the chest. With the left side of the chest open, keep anchoring firmly through your supporting leg. And you can release back to Half Moon 2, and then very carefully bend that front knee, come right into triangle pose, so nice and stable. Then lift with that top arm, slowly rise up, turn your toes in, hands to hips to rest. Slow the breath back down. One more here. Inhale, the heart lifts. Exhale, fold through the legs, slide the hands down. Press to the outside edges of your feet, holding onto the ankles, bend the elbows out wide, draw the crown towards the earth. Bring the body weight forward slightly in the balls of the feet. So right here we have a beautiful inversion. We're opening up the hips. This is a great place to be. You can also place a block under your head if you want that support. And if you're comfortable in headstand, you can bring your elbows down into the mat, interlace your fingers, tuck your pinky finger under, bring the crown of the head into the hands. Anchor down through the forearms, and slowly take the legs out wide. And just balance here into a headstand with the legs wide, flex through the heels of the feet. So inversions are this really great place to work on the hips if you have some strength and stability in them. Breathe deeply. No matter which position you're in, either in that wide forward fold or here in the headstand, breathe. But here, when we're inverted, gravity gets to take those inner thighs. Keep absorbing the tailbone and lift the lower belly. Anchor through the forearms so there's space in your shoulders. Now, if you want to play in the hips and you're inverted, you can take one leg forward, one leg back. This would be your Hanumanasana upside down, Supta Hanumanasana. And just enjoy that feeling, again, of gravity doing the work for you. And then you can switch, maybe other leg forward. Feel those upper inner thighs draw in. And then return to the wide position. And slowly use your core strength to bring your feet down and return back into that wide forward fold to rest. And then we've been down for a while, so bring your fingers into a finger stand underneath your shoulders and let blood just level out. So it feels like you're in monkey pose. And then turn your toes out, heels in, but stay wide here. Bend into a wide, what we call sometimes a sumo wrestler stance. So elbows press into knees, knees widen, pelvic floor opens. Gaze is traditionally here at the floor. As you push your elbows into your knees, make sure there's space in those shoulder joints. And then come halfway up, just a little bit, hands to mid-thigh. Dip your right shoulder down, rotating through the upper back. And then dip your left shoulder down. And so just a nice little twist on each side here. It feels really good to free up some of the tension in the upper middle back. Unstick those shoulder blades. And then heel toe in a little further, but still toes out, heels in. Come down one more time into squat, hands at prayer, elbows press into knees. And you can close your eyes here. Feel rest. And then take hands behind you and bring the sit bones down. Legs out in front of you for a moment. Move the flesh from the sit bones. Stabilize in Dandasana. Close your eyes if you'd like. Make sure you feel the heels of the hands pressing down into the earth. Pull back on the pinky toe side of your foot. All right, so we're going to come into a couple variations of frog. So there's Bekasana and there's Mandukasana. And sometimes those two terms, I think, get confused, or maybe they've always been confused. But we're going to come onto our belly, starting in Makrasana, crocodile. Feet wide, so toes out, heels in like a frog. And then forehead resting into mat. And abdomen here just breathes into the earth. So just take a few moments to enjoy the diaphragmatic breathing and the massage of the internal organs. And then place your tops of your feet flat, feet about 4 to 6 inches apart. Bring your elbows down underneath your shoulders, but slightly in front of them, like an inch or so in front. Spread your fingers wide. Sphinx variation of cobra. Pull back on the earth, send the sternum forward. Continue to anchor down through pubic bone, knees, and feet. So that base of the body will prevent some of that crunching in the low back. Sternum comes forward. Send the breath here into the heart. Gaze is steady, eyes are steady, mind is steady. One more. Now we're already upright, so we're just going to take our left forearm parallel to the top of our mat and bend the right knee. You're going to grab onto that foot, but the left leg, you want to feel both inner thighs are glued to the floor, particularly in the left. It likes to come unglued. So if you could glue the inner thighs to the floor, you're going to slowly start to pull this right foot down. And some people are real flexible here, can get that foot all the way to the outside of the hip. That's fantastic. And if you're a little tighter like me, it's okay. You're going to just push that foot down as best you can. Tops of the toes are pointed. And there's a great mudra here if you are really flexible, where your thumb is across your foot, pat of your foot, fingers wrapped around the toes, and then you rotate the wrists so the fingers come forward, the elbow points up. So if you've got that flexibility, by all means, utilize that mudra. It's fantastic bind. And keep gluing those inner thighs to the floor. That's key here in this position. So like I said, this is a half variation of frog pose, Bekasana, or sometimes people call it Mandukasana. And then we'll switch. Take the right forearm down. Again, the forearm is parallel to the top of your mat. This time you're going to bend your left knee. And then once those inner thighs are glued to the floor, start to draw that left foot down, heel towards the outside of the hip. But you got to keep those inner thighs glued. Now there's so much that's working here, so much that's stretching. Sometimes it's the hip that's tight, sometimes it's the chest, sometimes it's just both. So no matter where you're at, that's great. If you've got that flexibility for the mudra, remember it's a thumb across the pad of the foot, fingers wrapped around the top, and then you rotate the elbow up into the air as the fingers come all the way around. And that really binds the toes down and binds that foot down towards the hip. If you don't have it in your practice, don't do it because it's very intense, so you have to make sure the flexibility is there. Couple more breaths. Now gently release that foot back down. Take a moment just to rest. If you like turning those toes out again, back into Makrasana, go ahead, or just keep the toes straight. And then bring them back in, hands under the shoulders. You're gonna come into tabletop position. And here's where it would be handy to have a blanket next to you. It's more helpful if you are on a wooden floor, and you can easily slide a knee out to the side. But if you don't have that available, that's okay. Just do your best. You don't want the blanket to be too much higher than the mat for any inconsistency. So if you do have a thick blanket, you might want to make it a little thinner. But then we're going to slide that knee out to the side. Now, feet are going to be in that same position they were for Makrasana, toes out like frog feet, and then start to let the inner thighs open. And depending on your flexibility, maybe you have to stay on the hands with the torso upright. And if you've got that a little bit more room, you might be able to bring the forearms down and just keep letting the legs slide out to the side. Keep those toes in, frog feet, and just let the inner thighs open. And the longer you stay, the more that blanket begins to slide out, even if it's just like 1/8 of an inch. Now, it's easy to dump into the low back here. So you have to be real mindful. I have a little slight lordosis, so mine might look a little bit more arched, but you don't want it to be too arched. You want to see if you can pull the tailbone down slightly, lift the pelvic floor and lower belly in and up. And then if you're real flexible, you might want to play a little bit with a cat-cow in the pelvis, so that cat is the tailbone absorbing in, and then the cow is when the tailbone lifts. So you can play with that if that feels comfortable for you, back and forth. It's very subtle. It's mostly internal. May not see it on the outside. One more breath here. Really let go. See if you can let the last little bit of resistance leave the inner thighs and the hips. And now you're going to walk, forearm walk your upper torso forward. Feet will come off the floor for most people. And then you're once again going to rest your forehead on your hands, but bring the soles of the feet to touch behind you. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. So as the toes reach down towards the floor and you actively push them in that direction, then there's this unique opening for the hips, the inner groin. Again, very flexible people may be able to get the toes to touch the floor. Otherwise, the rest of us are just intending for that to happen. One more breath here. Now, this final piece is to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Push back to a wide child's pose. So you're going to keep the knees wide, push back. And then take hands under the shoulders, slowly come back, and take your time to bring your knees back in. It'll feel really nice just to sit for a minute in Vajrasana, heels and knees together. If you'd like, close your eyes, hands rest in the lap. Good, hips to one side. Pigeon pose is typically done in a forward fold in the West, but we would like to do this variation, which is often called fire log pose or Agni Stambhasana. But we're going to stack your left foot directly on top of your right knee and your right foot directly underneath your left knee. So your shins are stacked. And I like to look between my legs, make sure there's a triangle without anything in the way. Flex the feet to protect the knee. If this is too intense, you can always slide that foot down a little bit, but ideally we're working towards this stacked log position, so to speak. And fingers in a finger stand. Now, if you're tight in the hips, this might be enough. You can always prop your sit bones up on a bolster or a blanket if that helps the knees and hips to relax a little more. Now, closing your eyes is helpful so you don't pay attention to how far you are, and then you're just going to keep your spine extended as you walk your fingertips forward. And that if that tendency or that desire to round the upper back comes in, you'd know you have to stop and back off a bit. But when you find the first area of sensation, be real honest about where that is. Stop there and breathe. Remember going all the way down into the pelvic floor. On inhalation, pelvic floor and navel pull in and up on exhalation. Now, if your body starts to soften, that's its way of telling you that you can go a little further. So you're going to honor that. And one thing I find in this particular posture, at least in my own experience, is if I let go of tension in one hip, the other hip is so kind and likes to take it on itself. So I've got to make sure to check in with both, the one that's really in an intense stretch, and then also the other one who's trying to stabilize. Make sure that that one is not becoming tight. Now, if you do have some flexibility at some point, you can just let the upper body go. Maybe even allow the head and neck to release. But try your best to at least energetically keep the heart open. Breathe right into those areas of sensation. And then when you're ready, slowly come up, take your time, back into that extended spine and fingers in a finger stand. And then we'll cross the left knee over the right, hands on the feet, lift the hips, wiggle back and forth in that space, and then lower the hips back down. So if you're tight in the outer hip, or IT bands, you might feel this already. Hold your shin bones and sit tall. Cow's face legs. And if you want to go deeper, you may need a strap, may not, but the left arm goes in between the shoulder blades. Wiggle it as high up the upper back as you can, and you'll drop the strap down with the opposite hand. And then the right elbow lifts up. Now, if you can grab the fingertips, you don't need the strap. Sometimes the strap is nice, though. If you struggle with the fingertips and you're just barely there, this gives you the ability to relax a little more and have a deeper breath. And keep lifting through the right elbow. If they're not already, you're welcome to close the eyes. And then if you'd like, on your next exhalation, lean forward, keep the right elbow lifted, and just head towards a little bit of a forward fold. You might be able to shift your strap a little bit, get maybe a deeper stretch. Head can relax, but right elbow stays lifted. And then gently come up and release. Roll your shoulders out. And switch your legs. So fire log to start. Right foot on top of the left knee. Left foot directly underneath. Back in the day, we used to call this double pigeon. So making sure everything is stacked and there's a triangle that has nothing in the way in the center of your legs. Make sure the feet are engaged so that you're protecting the knee joint, fingers in a finger stand, and this may be just where you want to stay, just in a tall spine. Remember, you can always prop sit bones up if it helps. And then start to walk the fingers forward. Don't lose that beautiful extension of the spine. And again, be real honest about that first edge. You know, if you move into the body incrementally, it's fascinating how it begins to trust. And then the more it trusts, the more it's willing to release. And if we force it, the trust isn't there. We're trying to overpower it with our will and determination in our minds. And usually then we'll stay in lockdown. Deep Ujjayi breathing right down into the root, into the hips, into the sensation. If the body gives you permission by softening, keep walking into it and then honoring the next edge. At some point, you might be able to let that whole upper body come forward. Head and neck is relaxed. Breathe. Keep the heart open. And slowly begin to walk your hands back. Come into that tall spine, fingers in a finger stand. Just observe. And cross the knees. So right knee over left knee, as tight as you can get it. Sometimes it's nice to lift the hips up, wiggle them back and forth a little bit, and then lower them back down. And right arm can then wiggle here in between the shoulder blades. For fool's cow's face. You don't want to use the arms, just keep the legs in this position, and fingers in a finger stand is fine as well. And again, you can use the strap if you need it. And then just close the eyes. And just keep that left elbow lifting. If you want to start to lean forward, keep the navel, pelvic floor drawing in and up. You might be able to adjust the hands a little bit as you come forward. The left elbow stays lifted. And inhale, come up and release. Roll the shoulders out. Straighten your left leg. Keep your right foot directly over the knee. Hold the shin bone and sit tall. Wrap your left arm around the leg. Rotate the navel to the right, right hand behind you, spinal twist. Inhale as tall as you can. Exhale, pull the navel back and rotate deeper to the right. Inhale, grow taller. You might unwind a little bit to do that. And exhale, pull the navel back, rotate to the right. And then at some point, you can just let the breath do that work for you. It knows exactly how much to let go, to extend, and exactly how much you should rotate. And think of this as just wringing out any of that work that we did. Unwind back to the neutral position. Hold the shin bone, sit tall. And we'll switch legs. Right leg is straight. Left foot crosses over at the knee. Hold the shin bone, sit tall, lift through pelvic floor and core. Inhale the right arm up, and then wrap the arm around. And left hand back behind you. Navel rotates to the left. So inhale as tall as you can, and exhale and squeeze. Now certainly there are binds you can take here for this rotation, but the goal in this particular twist today is a deeper breath. So unwind enough to get that full inhale, and then exhale and really draw navel in and back. On the outside, the posture may look static, but with the breath, it's really moving dynamically, very subtly. Gently unwind the neck, unwind the body, hold the shin bones, sit as tall as you can, neutral spine. And then unwind the legs. We're going to prepare for Shavasana, so placing socks and sweaters on so the body temperature cools down slowly. Coming onto your back. Knees draw into chest. Just feel the tailbone lengthen away from the crown of the head so the earth is fully supporting the spine. And then straighten the legs for just a moment. You can reach for the toes or hold the backs of the calves. And as you extend the heels up, pull the pinky toe sides of the feet down. And draw the heads of the shoulders into their socket. Lengthen the neck. And then release, and we're going to bring the thumbs underneath the hips. Squeeze the forearms in toward your side bodies, and using your core strength, nice and slow, take the legs all the way down to the floor. Navel reaching towards the earth, activating all that core strength. Now push down through the forearms. Keep them underneath you, puff up the chest. Let the heart open, rest on the crown of the head. Matsyasana fish, and feet are reaching out through the pads. It's almost like you're pushing the gas pedal on the car. And one more full breath here into the heart. Lift the head, release it down. Let the arms open out to the side, palms face up. As you prepare for Shavasana, bring the legs to a little wider than hip distance apart. Arms down by your side, palms up. And tuck the shoulder blades underneath you so the heart is open. If you have an eye pillow or a light piece of material, you can place it over your eyes. Now rest. Make sure the jaws relax, the teeth part slightly. And feel the earth completely supporting the body so that rest is possible. So very slowly begin to deepen your breath. Run your fingers across your thumbs. Wiggle your toes, roll wrists and ankles. Without rushing, pull knees to chest. And then curl to your right side into fetal, arm under the head as a pillow. Placing the hand in the ear, slowly come back up. Head and neck heavy, eyes closed as you come up. If you want to prop your sit bones up for a moment of meditation, you can do that. A bolster or blanket. And you can either do cross-legged position, or if you're comfortable, half or full lotus. And then just sit with that tall spine, relaxed body. And take a moment to feel the warmth and the spaciousness in the base of the body. Relaxation there. Letting go of whatever was stuck or stored or tight. And after unleashing all that pent-up energy, consciously direct it into the heart. Direct your awareness right into the seat of the soul. And then just see and feel that on the inhale, the heart space, the energy there, expands in 360 degrees. On inhalation and on exhalation, see and feel that intense energy return to the heart. Inhale. Energy spreads outward in 360 degrees. Exhale, see it return to the heart. And if you're a visual person, you can see this as rose-colored light. Two more breaths like this, 360 degrees, front and back, top and bottom. And bring your hands to your heart, bow your head to your hands. Release the technique and return to our intention, trusting we received what we could receive and let the rest go. And we'll seal the practice today with a chant of Gayatri. Om Bhur-Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Namaste.